Welcome back to AM Northwest on this Monday morning. Being surrounded by useless stuff can clutter your home and your mind. Here with tips for spring cleaning your life for a happier one is the author of the Chotchky Challenge, Barry Dennis. Good to have you with us, Barry.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here.
Let's talk about how did you come up with the idea behind this? What was the motivator for you?
Well, I realized in my life with my children one day, which I made a promise to myself when I became a father. It was a vow that I would never parent out of anger. I would never lose my temper. I would never yell. One day, in the morning, trying to get my kids ready for school, I found myself yelling at my kids. And afterwards, I felt so bad about it. I couldn't figure out. I didn't know who that person was. But when I look back at the day, I realized there was this subtle stress building up on me throughout the morning that had nothing to do with my kids. I call it the Chotchky. It's what happened with Chotchky. It builds up inside of you. It's a Chotchky effect. Starts to build up, and then we project it on people we love.
Now, how old were your kids when this finally happened, when you had your break point?
This was, I think, 7, they were like 7 and 15.
I'm surprised you didn't lose it earlier.
Really? I know. Well, I just want to tell you,
It's a big deal, isn't it?
I lost it at 7 and 15 days, so good for you.
I know.
All right, but the point is you started to become something you didn't like. And so to clean this Chotchky, to clear this out, the first thing you say is you should take 3 Glad bags and go through the house. What do you do with them?
Yeah, get 3 Glad bags, 1 to recycle, to give away, and 1 to throw away. Because let's face it,
there's plenty of that.
There's stuff that we have all around us that is worthless. I mean, you got to throw it away. But I like to think of turning our burdens into blessings, because we got so much stuff that other people could actually use, which is actually burdening us. You were saying during the break that you've got so much clothes, shirts, and all kinds of things that you're just, what am I doing all this stuff? Well, that's a burden on you. When we walk into our closet and we're overwhelmed by our apparel, I call it a paralyzation. And it's a theory of mine that people spend about 6.4 months a year in a state of complete paralyzation, stuck, frozen, not sure what to do. What am I going to wear? And we actually say things like, I have nothing to wear. Which, of course, is complete insanity. We have more to wear than we know what to do with, and so we get frozen. But recycling those and giving those away can turn our burden into a blessing.
You talk about building in a pause.
Yeah. I call it, we're getting a slush rush of the soul. Now, when you get a slush rush or a big gulp or whatever, we know if we drink it too fast, we're going to get a headache. But what we've been conditioned to do by our society is to think more, faster, now, and bigger. So we get these giant big gulps and things, and we start drinking, and we can't stop. It's kind of a metaphor for our life. We've been conditioned to bring things in quick, fast, and it's giving our soul kind of a headache. And so building in a pause, when you see something you think you might want, just pause for a moment and get clear. Is this going to sit in my closet for years, and then am I going to have to repack it when I move, and then unpack it and find a new place for it and try to figure out something to do with it? Build a pause when we don't rush into relationships. You were just talking about that with Whitney Houston's children. And same thing, build in a pause. Don't get into a relationship where you're also going to, people-hotchky. We want to eliminate all the tchotchky.
You mentioned, too, collect things and then what to do with them. And I love this tip. Clear out an old storage unit. Sell the stuff in there. And someone once said it's uniquely American that we actually rent off-site spaces to store our junk.
It's crazy. People are... And what's so funny is when people, maybe come to terms with this and decide to sell off their storage space, what happens is generally people with the other storage spaces come and get your stuff and put it in their storage space.
Oh,
but then check this out.
That's like neighborhood garage sales. Usually the neighbors buy up the stuff.
So now their storage unit gets so full that they have to end up renting the storage unit they took it from to put it back in. So don't worry about your stuff. It's going back where it came from.
Yeah,
that's funny.
It's crazy.
And you mentioned clear out your closet. Clean up your diet.
Yeah, we're surrounded by foodachki. It's not healthy, and there's too much of it. I've realized that there's a line. It's a long process I explain in my book, but I've decided that anything, it's a shapeshifter, Chotchky. Anything can become it, and once you go across the line of excess, I call it the line of excess. As soon as anything has crossed the line of excess, it's transformed itself into Chotchky. And so food, and things that are not useful, of course, instantly, they came into the world that way, but food we're eating, of course, all kinds of foodachki. I took my children to the fair once. This was right around the same time. And I got them a pizza, a big giant Coke, and an elephant ear. And I'll never forget my youngest son I looked down at him at the table, and he was eating this elephant ear, and he had 2 pieces of pizza and was guzzling Coke. And he looked up at me and he said, "Dad, it's just too good. I can't stop."
Oh, that's so funny.
Okay, so a minute later, we go into
I know
the
how that
fun
kid
house. You know
feels.
how it ends,
Yeah.
don't you?
Yeah.
We go into the fun house, and my older son, who had ate the same stuff, well, it
Yeah.
came up in an
Right.
interesting way. That wasn't very fun. And that's what happens anytime all excess is having that effect on us.
Sure.
Think about food, what it does to our body. The same thing happens in our space.
Well, there's got to be something too, though. People who collect things, and not hoarders. That
No,
goes deep, but
that's not really about
But
the
you know, like I could probably delve into why I collect all these golf shirts or whatever. People hang on to things for a reason other than just they have it. There's got to be something upstairs.
Well, it is. And it has to do with a psychological situation that we've created, a condition within us that we feel like we actually are kind of our purpose. I mean, there's a sense to which our purpose, because of the society that we're in, we feel it is to get more stuff, to collect things, to get things, and I call it identification Chotchky. We feel we're part of our stuff.
So how do you clear that up?
Well, when you go through with your bag, if you go through with your bag, when you really begin to look at your stuff, you tell yourself, I'm not my stuff. I'm not. There's something more happening. Because really, all of us have dreams, we have desires, we have passions, we have goals, and we have relationships that we want to foster and create and give to the world. Gifts we have to give to the world. And yet, if we look at how we're spending our time and money, we'll see we're actually funneling a huge portion of our energy, time, money, into things that are meaningless.
Right.
When you make this connection in yourself, you can begin to sever the identification Chotchky and start pouring that time, that energy, that money into your dreams, into your heart, into your passion, and into the relationships that really mean something to you, rather than, because even people can be people Chotchky, people who bring you down, have negative attitudes, those kind of things.
Barry, we didn't get to all of the tips, but we're going to put them on our website for everyone at home. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
I guess
it's great to
the Chotchky challenge, Barry
We had
Dennis.
more tips than we could use today. That's the problem. We had too many.
Too many.
Well, we're going to put them in a good place.